This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
What our kids get to experience in the fall will be much more robust than what they experience in the spring.
One of the state's largest school districts will start the school year online. Now at 4:30, what IPS leaders say needs to happen before students return to the classroom. Plus,
we kind of bunkered down. We figured out how to make the most of what we have.
As many small businesses struggle, the owner of one local store says his business is booming. This morning, why he says families spending time at home helping his store succeed during the pandemic. And an Indiana woman once credited with saving a man's life is in need of some help herself. This morning, how people are coming together to show her support. And good morning to you. We're going to start with Todd Clausen with a look at the weather. Good morning, Todd.
Amanda, good morning to you. Welcome to the early shift here, filling in for Lorna this morning. Temperatures are in the 60s. Yesterday, a really wet day for us all across the area. Today, we'll have some spotty showers around, but not nearly as wet. A better opportunity to get out and about. 65 in Peru right now, as well as Martinsville. 68 is the current temperature in Bloomington. Paris 6 in Greencastle, as well as Greenfield. And 65 is the current temperature as you make your way over into the Richmond area. So despite all the rain that we had this morning, yesterday, and into the early morning hours, we don't have much in the way of patchy fog yet. It's not out of the question as the skies start to clear. A little bit could settle in, but the view from IMS back off towards the east doesn't show any visibility issues here in downtown Indianapolis. And the skies have started to clear a little bit. The showers have been pushed down to our south, but there's more off towards the west. You notice this spin here, and eventually a couple of these are going to pinwheel in here during the course of the afternoon and evening hours. So most of the day today is going to be dry, but especially this afternoon into the evening hours, we'll start to build in a few showers. But look at these temperatures, well below normal for this time of year as we wrap up the month of July. Hard to believe with high temperatures, Amanda, that will be in the upper 70s.
All right, thanks, Todd. Let's take a live look outside at I-70 at State Road 267 over in the Plainfield area. There is a long-term construction project in this area. We want to let you know about the ramp from State Road 267 to eastbound I-70 towards downtown is closed in this area until November. Interstate traffic on the west side is moving up to speed. And here's a live look on the city's northeast side, I-465 at the White River. Traffic in this area is moving up to speed as well. No crashes or delays around the metro area to slow you down so far this morning. Well, thousands of Indianapolis public school students will start the school year with remote learning. The decision was made Thursday night at a board meeting. School officials say they looked at the COVID-19 data for Marion County, showing an increase in positive cases for young people. Parents can expect to get information from their schools soon regarding schedules, getting meals, and technology for virtual learning. IPS Superintendent Alicia Johnson says if you want your kids in physical classrooms this year, you need to take the health guidelines seriously.
I think it's going to be imperative for our community to say this is important for us. We all need to do our part so our kids can get back to school as quickly as possible.
IPS is hoping to resume in-person learning in the fall, but Johnson says the COVID-19 numbers in Marion County will ultimately make that decision. And turning now to the latest coronavirus data and how the virus continues to impact Hoosier families. State health officials confirmed nearly 1,000 new cases of the virus here in Indiana. That brings the running total to more than 65,000 cases. The state health department also says 13 more Hoosiers have died from the virus. Since March, more than 2,700 people in Indiana have died from COVID-19. And taking a look at the state's hospitalization data at this hour, more than 45% of the state's ICU beds are being used. This morning, coronavirus patients are using a little more than 12%. Nearly 42% of the state's ICU beds are still available. And this morning, another big event has become a casualty of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Junior League of Indianapolis has canceled its annual Holiday Mart. The 4-day shopping event typically features a variety of Central Indiana vendors and is completely planned, produced, and staffed by league volunteers. Since March, the league has turned its focus to providing support to those impacted by COVID-19, including donating funds for emergency food and security relief and an emergency shelter program. And throughout the pandemic, we've showed you the struggles that small business owners are facing. But this morning, a Noblesville business owner says his business is actually benefiting from families staying at home. Jason Manship owns Moonshot Games and was forced to shut down because of the pandemic. Manship says that's when he launched an online store, and business has been booming since. Moonshine Games opened its Noblesville location in May, and now a new opportunity to expand on July 1st. Moonshot opened a store on Mass Ave.
I think it's just been in the right place at the right time in a lot of ways. I mean, something you and I have talked about before, we got into puzzles. We were a game store, and people said we really want some puzzles also, and quarantine makes total sense, right? You're isolated, you're looking for something to keep your mind occupied and do something.
The Mass Ave store has a beer and wine permit, which Manship's caters to the crowd Mass Ave attracts. Now this morning, both locations are still limiting capacity and have plexiglass barriers and sanitation procedures they follow. And this morning, an additional execution is on the books for the Federal Corrections Complex in Terre Haute. Lesmond Mitchell is the sole Native American on federal death row. Mitchell is convicted of killing a Navajo woman and her 9-year-old granddaughter in 2001. And despite the nature of the killings, tribal officials and the victim's family have opposed the death penalty. Mitchell's execution is scheduled for August 26th. And a Greenfield woman credited with saving a man's life now needs the community's help as she battles stage 4 colon cancer. Megan Sanctorum shows us how people are reaching out to help.
This is Angel Dudley. We first introduced you to her back in 2017 when she stepped in to help a man who cut his arm on a broken window and ruptured a main artery.
Just the right place, right time.
She had just taken a first aid class and knew exactly what to do. She wrapped his arm in a jacket and took her belt off to use that as a tourniquet. She was able to stop any further blood loss and keep him alive until the ambulance arrived.
He's always in my mind, in my prayers.
But now she's the one asking for prayers and support. Dudley has started aggressive chemotherapy treatment. And even though she's still working, she says medical bills continue to add up.
That this is not going to be an inexpensive venture for me.
Her sister created a GoFundMe account to help with those expenses. So far, dozens of community members have contributed, saying she always does for others. So now it's their turn to do the same for her.
Angel is a very giving person. I mean, she is constantly doing and giving for everyone else, and biblically, you know, that's going to come back to her.
To have it come back on me is strange. It's a very weird feeling for me because I've always wanted to help people, and now I need help.
So far, people have donated more than $1,100 to help Dudley out. She says she's determined to beat cancer, and this puts her one step closer to doing that. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And if you want to read more about her life-saving actions in 2017, we have a link to that story on the RTV6 app. New coronavirus cases hit their highest level in more than a month on Wednesday. Straight ahead, why experts say the virus is likely to claim nearly 100,000 more American lives by November. Cervical cancer impacts thousands of American women each year. After the break, why experts are changing screening recommendations for those at risk. Todd.
And Amanda, yesterday, wet day, as you know, across central Indiana. Today, not quite as wet, but there are still some shower chances in the forecast as we round out the work week and also the month of July. We'll talk about the timeline of the rain for today and, unfortunately, some for your weekend as well coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:38. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Here's a live look from our INDOT traffic camera at I-70 and Post Road on the city's east side. A construction project in this area has the left lane of I-70 eastbound closed, but traffic appears to be moving up to speed in that area. And this morning, the former Ferguson, Missouri police officer who killed Michael Brown will not face charges. 18-year-old Brown was unarmed before being shot by Darren Wilson in August of 2014. The shooting prompted a federal civil rights inquiry protest and a national debate. The decision by the St. Louis County prosecutor comes nearly 6 years after a grand jury declined to prosecute Wilson. Prosecutors say although they could not prove a crime was committed, the investigation does not exonerate Wilson. America continuing to break records as deaths from the coronavirus continue to rise in more than 30 states. ABC's Alex Perche reports the virus is having a record-breaking impact on the economy as well.
This morning, the U.S. grappling with both health and economic emergencies. Coronavirus deaths continue to climb, now over 151,000. Louisiana's governor reporting the state's highest daily death toll in 2.5 months. Florida had its third straight day of record deaths. With the tropical storm approaching, public testing sites statewide are shutting down through the weekend. California and North Carolina hit record daily deaths this week, as did Texas. COVID taking its toll inside Houston's United Memorial Medical Center.
You got a death wish, catch COVID.
The hospital seeing one of its own nurses sickened. A doctor there says he feels like he's fighting two wars.
A war against COVID and a war against stupidity.
He's frustrated after seeing people on the street not wearing masks or socially distancing. And now a grim new warning from an association of medical colleges. If the nation doesn't change its course, and soon, deaths could be well into the multiple hundreds of thousands. The silver lining? FEMA reported fewer cases, down an average of 3% from last week. Dr. Anthony Fauci saying this on CNN.
I don't think we need to go to lockdown again.
But the virus has hit the economy hard already. Data shows it contracted at an annual rate of nearly 33% from April to June, the worst number since records began at the end of World War II.
Consumer spending absolutely dropped off a cliff.
That means livelihoods threatened and long lines for food like this scene in Los Angeles.
It's helped a lot.
1.4 million people filed for unemployment last week, just as those emergency $600 benefit checks for 30 million Americans are set to expire. Senate Republicans made a last-minute attempt to extend these benefits, but at just $200, something that Democrats rejected, calling it a callous political move and saying that we need a more comprehensive plan. But even if these two sides can come to an agreement here, it's something that will likely take weeks. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
And as we just heard, the U.S. economy shrank a record-breaking 33% last quarter as the virus closed businesses and triggered layoffs. Last week in Indiana, nearly 21,000 new unemployment claims were filed. That is an increase of about 2,700 over the previous week. Roughly 930,000 Hoosiers have filed for unemployment since the pandemic began. This morning, a massive heat wave is gripping parts of the Middle East. Record high temperatures have been recorded across the region from Egypt to Saudi Arabia to Iran. Baghdad hit a record 125 degrees on Tuesday. The good news, the temperatures are expected to cool down slightly this weekend. And Todd, we're seeing a cool down ourselves over here in Indiana. Not quite that hot that we got. But...
You know, I mean, that's impressive. 125 degrees there in Baghdad. Unbelievable. Yeah, here in central Indiana, you're exactly right, Amanda. Yesterday, with the clouds around and the showers, temperatures were in the 70s, and we're rounding out the month of July here in the 70s. And overall, the first couple days of August going to be below normal as well. I'll show you that in your 7-day planning forecast in just a few minutes. Let's talk rain chances. Yesterday, 1 inch of rain fell at the airport in Indianapolis, a little more in some other locations. Today, there'll be a few spotty showers around in the afternoon and evening. So we're just kind of in the slight category, but we'll ramp up the rain chances tomorrow. They drop on Sunday, then they come back up on Monday. So overall, it's a pretty unsettled weather pattern here going forward over the course of the next few days. The temperature right now, 67 degrees. The humidity is obviously up there with all the rainfall that we saw yesterday and just a light wind out of the north-northeast, but that northeasterly direction, it's a cooler wind direction, and that's what's going to keep our temperatures below normal throughout the course of the day today. 68 in Bloomington right now, 69 in Muncie, 64 is the current temperature in Tipton, 66 is the current reading in Greencastle. Humidity levels today in check. We're not going to get into that oppressive category, but obviously with the ground being wet and damp out there and not much in the way of a lot of sunshine today, we will keep the humidity level in that slightly humid category. You'll notice it, I think, but it's not going to be super oppressive, and plus the temperatures are going to be a little bit below normal. We are starting to clear the skies out across the area this morning. We expand out, and you notice it's unsettled down to our south with some scattered showers, then back towards Kansas City. This spin, that's an area of low pressure, which is going to kind of pinwheel to our south, but it will get close enough to bring some showers into the forecast as we work work our way into the evening hours. Overall, though, think of today as a partly to mostly cloudy day, not a wet day, but just know those showers will be possible later on this afternoon. 77, it's about 79 degrees will be our high temperature. That should occur mid-afternoon, and then as some of those showers start to work their way in later on this evening, that's when temperatures are going to start to cool off. Look at this, sunset now before 9 o'clock, 8:59 p.m. at 75 degrees, right around that, 72 by the time we get to 11 a.m. Here's TrueCast for you, and we start off with some sunshine this morning, then the clouds will gather, and here are a few of these spotty showers, mainly in southern locations, that are going to start to work their way into the area, and then throughout the day tomorrow as we expand out here on TrueCast. Notice how the showers become a little more numerous. Again, there's dry hours throughout the course of the weekend, but just a little better chance of some rain showers on Saturday compared to the day on a Sunday. As far as temperatures go, though, well below normal. Saturday, about only 75 degrees for your high temperature. Our normal high now is 84 this time of year. Sunday, 77 degrees, and then we'll continue with the cooler temperatures into the middle of next week as well. 80 on Monday, but then back down into the 70s as we kind of clear things out starting on Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday look spectacular, even though they're below normal with temperatures in the 70s. And look at those low temperatures as we get into Wednesday and Thursday morning, going, Amanda, all the way down into the mid-50s.
Who would have thought it's August?
Right?
Well, here's a live look at I-65 near 30th Street here in the downtown area. Traffic is light for this early hour. No problems if your day is getting started downtown this morning. And good morning to you over in Greenwood. If you're headed north or south on I-65 through Johnson County this morning, everything is moving up to speed for you. We'll keep an eye on your commute and let you know if any delays do pop up. Well, this morning, the American Cancer Society is recommending cervical cancer screenings start at age 25 instead of 21. The decision to raise the age comes as HPV vaccinations seem to be working. Cervical cancer is low in the 20 to 24-year female age group, and the numbers are expected to decrease as vaccine use increases. The recommendations indicate the HPV tests are more accurate than Pap smears. And the CDC is warning that backyard chickens and ducklings are responsible for a serious salmonella outbreak. The outbreak has sickened nearly 1,000 Americans, sending 150 people to the hospital and killing one person. Backyard poultry, especially chickens, have become popular pets in the U.S. Health experts say poultry can carry salmonella bacteria even if they look clean and show no signs of illness. The CDC warns backyard farmers not to kiss their poultry or snuggle them and then touch their face or mouth. And the Pacers will be playing for real starting tomorrow, but will the blue and gold be ready for a 2-week sprint into the playoffs? Hear from the team coming up. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. We are about 36 hours away from the official restart of the Pacers season, which will be played entirely in Orlando. And this morning, Brad Brown shows us how the blue and gold are getting ready to go back to work.
July would normally put some of the Pacers in the NBA Summer League, just not most of these guys, and certainly not in this setting.
I think guys are going to be uncomfortable the whole time. I think guys need to shift their focus away from being uncomfortable and shift it to playing good basketball.
But after 3 weeks in the Orlando bubble, it's time to finally play the games that count. The Pacers get back to business on Saturday, the first of 8 games leading up to the playoffs.
We're looking forward to the real grind. I think everybody, of course, is looking forward to into the playoffs, but we got to take all these games as seriously as possible. I think guys is ready to go out to play for real.
Domantas Sabonis is out for now. A foot injury sent him back home for treatment, and he may not return at all.
It's going to change a lot. Him setting screens, he's a great screen setter as well. So, I mean, it shouldn't change that much, but obviously missing a piece like that, it hurts us. But we have bigs who know how to play basketball.
Definitely tough to see him go, but, it's something for me. I mean, even when he's here, it's just whenever my number's called, I'm going to go in there and just do what I can to help the team and be successful.
As for Victor Oladipo, he's in, or is he? Oladipo played some solid minutes in the 3 scrimmage games, but never really committed to going the distance with this summer season.
I got to make sure that no movements bother my knee or, I'm hindered from making certain movements. I got to make sure everything is good. So,
day by day, game by game, reassessing after every game, making sure that I'm good, my knee is good, and then we'll go from there.
And like every other team that's still playing, some questions will have to wait to be answered until another couple of games get played. With no true home court advantage on the line, this playoff push takes on a different feel.
We were going to have some bad play in games like this, so we want to try to get that out of our system and make sure that we get connected on both ends of the floor, all of us, for this restart.
The Pacers restart as the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. They could climb as high as 3rd, and they can't finish any worse than 6th. As it goes right now, most likely the Heat or the Celtics will be their first-round playoff opponent. The Sixers are also in the mix as well. Philadelphia happens to be their first opponent of the restart in Orlando. That game is on Saturday. Here's a look at the calendar for the rest of the 8-game stretch. It includes a couple of important games late against the Heat. The playoffs will start on August 17th, and the NBA Finals are set to start on September 30th. Brad Brown, RTV 6 Sports.
All right, thank you there, Brad. Looking forward to seeing the Pacers back on the hard court here in the next couple days. Some spotty showers in the forecast today, but nothing major. Most of the showers should be in the afternoon and evening. Better rain chances tomorrow, but overall cooler temperatures straight across the board as we will be below the average high of 84 degrees all the way into the middle of next week. The time now is 4:57. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We're back at the top of the hour. Stay with us. We'll see you in a few minutes.